Right guys, this video is going to be like a snippets roundup of stuff that's come out after my last video regarding Allister, Ugarte and Veiga, Thiago as well, kind of mixing with the Veiga stuff. And then I've got two comments in my last video that I want to just read out because I feel like I need to give them a proper response and I just don't think text would be suffice. So, let's start with Allister guys, shall we? So, it's been reported today, obviously, that it's going to be done deal, basically. We've had the Here You Go from Fabrizio Romano, we've had a Paul Joyce article, and a journalist that I'm not too, trying to word this properly, I don't hold in high regard, shall we say. You know, I listen to what he's got to say, but I'm kind of like, you know, you're not up there with the David Ornsteins, you're not up there with the Paul Joyce kind of thing. Ben Jacobs, he's basically said today that he's heard from Brighton sources that the price that Liverpool have paid for Allister is less than 45 million, basically. Now, if this is true, I would say this is up there with Liverpool's deal for selling Coutinho to Barcelona for over 120 odd million, whatever it was. Like, we've absolutely shafted Brighton here. I'm not even going to lie. Ben basically said that it was before the World Cup that they offered the deal to Allister. He signed it, and before the World Cup, he was rumoured to be valued between 20 and 30 million. They got him to sign a new contract, and then he's just took off. He's had a great World Cup. He won the World Cup. It was a great back end to the season. And then I've done a bit of digging on this as well, guys. And David Ornstein did actually write an article in January saying that Allister was valued between 20 and 40 million. So if we've managed to sign Alexis Allister between 30 and 40 million, did I just say 20 and 40? 30 and 40 million, then that's a steal. Absolute steal. And as well, if the rumours are to believe that his contract is base salary not as high as many would expect, but highly incentivised, he's got the right head on his shoulders, basically, isn't it? And then you've got to think as well, he could have gone to United, City or wherever, earned more money, had Champions League football. It just shows that he's got trust in the long-term project at Liverpool, because obviously you've got to think next season, guys, top four is not guaranteed. We've got City who are going to strengthen, obviously. United are going to strengthen, potentially with new owners. Newcastle are going to spend some money this season. Chelsea, will they be back on track? You've got Arsenal probably going to and spend again this summer. Who knows? Even Spurs might get their act together. So it's going to be a very, very, very interesting season next year. And Liverpool need to get this window done correctly. And if this is true, that we've signed Allister at this rate, then I think we're set up for a really good summer, guys. And I'm going to tie that up with something else in a little bit in regards to who else we could get in this summer. Next up, I just want to touch on Ugarte. So we heard reports earlier that Chelsea was in the lead, then they've pulled out, and then PSG. Now Fabrizio Romano's put a tweet out there today basically saying that PSG will not pay a penny of the release clause until the summer of 2024, and then the whole fee will be paid over the 5-year contract that the player will sign. Now, you've got to think to yourself here, guys, if this is legit and this is true, why did Liverpool pull out of this deal if they wanted the guy so much? Was it all just smokescreen because we were after somebody else? Or was it because we literally did piss off Sporting Lisbon by trying to get the fee lower overall and they just wouldn't sell him to us? Or in fact, was the players' wage demands supposed to be, just unrealistic for Liverpool? Is that what's happened here? Who knows, guys? Maybe he didn't want to come to us because we didn't have Champions League football. But you just got to think to yourself, why did Liverpool back out of this? Especially when we've had a history of doing this type of deal. Diogo Jota, for instance, when we signed him, I'm pretty sure we didn't pay a penny for him for the first year. And then the Thiago fee, which was like 20 million, I think we've paid that in 5 million instalments ever since he joined us or something. Do you know what I mean? So per season. So you've got to ask the question, why did Liverpool pull out of that deal for Ugarte? And then next up, and lastly, shall we say, the Northern Echo, which I guess is the Newcastle, version of the Liverpool Echo. They're reporting that Newcastle are battling us for the Celta Vigo player Gabriel Veiga, who I mentioned earlier today. And they've said that Liverpool are the favourites to land him. Liverpool have put the groundwork in. Klopp's side don't have Champions League football, which Newcastle are aware of, but it says here Liverpool have put a lot of groundwork in to pave the way for a successful deal. They say that the buyout clause, which is €40 million, converts to about £35 million. And yeah, it seems like Veiga... I don't understand this one, to be fair, guys, because you've got to think to yourself, like, I treat all media the same way. What's the agenda here? Is this the Newcastle Echo? Well, Northern Echo, sorry. Is this them basically trying to say, to play it down a little bit? So then, if they do sign the player, they can be like, we stole him from Liverpool. Look how good we're getting now. We've got top four, we've got Champions League, and now we're stealing players from Liverpool. Or is it legit? Do you know what I mean? Not everything's a conspiracy theory, but I do think you've got to think to yourself, especially with the local media, when they're getting their information fed directly from the club, who does this benefit and what's the point in getting it out there? Do you know what I mean? So it's one to keep an eye on. Let's see what happens with it, but definitely let's just mention that there, and I'm probably going to monitor that for the next couple of days, see if anything comes of it, because now we've got potentially McAllister done this week. The exciting part is now, guys, who's next? Who do Liverpool go for next? Which will tie in directly to Dave's comment earlier, where he's asked, you know, the channel, you guys that have subscribed to here, what would be the top 5 players you would love Liverpool to sign this summer? For him, he's put McAllister, Thuram, Kone, Timber and Lavia. And I've got a change of opinion now on Thuram and Kone, but I've just thought of something to do with Veiga. He would not have to be registered this window as a player because of his age. So I'm just thinking, especially with the report today that came out with Thiago, if Thiago's going to stay and not be sold this summer and allowed to leave for a free transfer, are we going to keep Thiago around to help settle McAllister and Veiga, show them, you know, hand down his skills in like what he does and stuff like that, and then just thank you very much, Thiago, let him go for free next year, and then obviously when Thiago goes, that leaves a space for Veiga then to be registered into the club as a player. I don't know, that's just something that popped in my head now. So yeah, sorry, Thuram and Kone. So when these first links came out, I was under the impression that we wouldn't sign both, it was one or the other. But having done a little bit more digging, I've kind of seen recently that Thuram has been picking up a position a bit further forward. So he could potentially play alongside McAllister or Jones, you know, in them two front positions, like the 10s and the 8s, slightly behind the front three. Thuram could play there, whereas Kone, he could become the Fabinho replacement, or, you know, understudy to Fabinho at the moment, or whatever. So we could see a midfield box, shall we say, like the term that everyone uses nowadays, of Trent, Kone, Thuram, McAllister behind the front three. So it's one to bear in mind, that, guys. Let's see what happens. You know, as I just said, it's very exciting to see who could potentially come in next now that the McAllister deal's done. Let's see what starts warming up a little bit now, because we do think, due to like the rumours that have come out, that Liverpool want to get their business done quick and early, get it done. So yeah, let's see what happens there, guys, in regards to that. So next up, I said I would do these questions that Emily left me here. So she basically said that she would rather have Kone or Thuram over Lavia, and that the deal for McAllister is really, really good. She mentioned Veiga, wanted by Newcastle, and she doesn't know much about him, which, to be fair, I don't think many of us do. Let's have a look what else. So the questions are, do I think Carvalho should be sold or loaned out this summer? I think he should be loaned out. I'd loan him out to a Premier League team, get him a bit more Premier League experience, constantly playing, that type of thing. But if there is a possibility where we could have him as part of a deal to sign, you know, if it's rumoured to be believed that Leipzig want him, if we could send him there with some cash for either Vardiol or Szoboszlai, then I probably would do that deal, because, yeah, as I covered in a previous video, I think Carvalho may be the wrong type of player now. I think he was signed under the impression that Liverpool would be able to change from being a high intensity pressing team to more of a tick-attacker, keep the ball possession based team, and I just don't think it's worked. So first option for me would be to loan him out, and then but if we could sell him and get someone better, then I'd be of that option as well. Ben Doak, should he be given more of an opportunity next season? Again, I'm under the impression that he could be loaned out. You know, I'm not. I personally think players develop better when they're playing more regular. You know, we've seen this with Jude Bellingham when he went to Dortmund, Conor Gallagher at Crystal Palace. You know, there's loads of examples out there. So for me, I'd loan Ben Doak out maybe to Championship or something like that, and just give him a bit more experience playing constantly. Harvey Elliott when he went to Blackburn as well. So let's just see. Maybe he could turn up at Blackburn. We seem to be sending a lot of players there lately. Harvey Elliott, Leighton Clarkson. He could end up going to Blackburn. So yeah, I'd loan him out. And what are my thoughts on the new sporting director in George Schmadtke? It's a weird appointment. You know, if the rumoured 3 months, you know, contract is to be believed, or get out clause, I do believe that it's down to potentially the club could be for sale still, and they didn't want to get a sporting director in, or sporting directors that have got a good track record wouldn't want to come to the club just due to the uncertainty of what's going on. So I think he's a bit of a stopgap. And then as well, like, I just want to put this out there as well, like, all these people out there at the moment that are giving Schmadtke all this praise for signing McAllister and Thuram and whoever we end up signing right now, he did have a hand in on the McAllister deal, but he only must have come in 2 weeks ago, and we've probably been speaking to McAllister for months now. Do you know what I mean? So I think he got the deal over the line, but you've still got to give a bit of credit to Julian Ward for actually making, you know, the foundations of the deal. And I think a lot of the players that were potentially going to go for have already had the foundations put down, and he's basically being brought in to just get them over the line. So I know this is coming across like I'm very negative towards him, but I just think you've got to think of it realistically as well at the same time. I don't know, guys. I just feel like Schmadtke we're getting linked with a lot of German-based players now, so he's having some sort of influence. I get that, I really do. But at the same time, Liverpool have been planning for this transfer window for probably a long time. You've got to think. So before he was even spoke to about the job. So yeah, I'm holding out on Schmadtke at the moment. Let's see what happens. Again, as I just say, I think he will get the deals over the line. But other than that, I think that's about it, guys, really, on him. Anyway, if you've made it to this part of the video, I want to ask you a question. I am thinking about doing a live stream on Fridays, just to touch on everything. I think it would be very good for me as well to be a bit more interactive with you guys. Like, I know I'm in the comments and stuff like that, but it'd be good to get a live stream going. You guys ask me questions and I can give you my answers then. If anything pops up, we can look at it and research it together like I do now before I do my videos. But I wanted to ask you guys firstly, is this something you'd be interested in? And just let me know down below. Would you be interested in me doing like a live stream once a week on a Friday, especially with the transfer window coming up? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you are new here, subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with everything else I've got going on, and I'll catch you in the next one.